Good evening, everybody. Welcome to R&R with Topazz. Invite your friends, and men, you are welcome. We encourage you to join us this evening as well. We've got a great conversation. So we're going to give a few minutes, allow a few moments for people to join. I hope you're well. I hope your weekend was good. Get positioned, get comfortable, get your popcorn, get your drink, and get ready to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Even though you're not on the panel, your comments are welcome in the chat. You can call in as well. 303-801-8052. You can call in with your comments at 303-801-8052. You are watching R&R with Topazz. It's Monday Mindset. All right.
Happy birthday, gosh.
We are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to R&R, Release and Rediscover with Topazz. This is CTN Media, Black Media, support Black media, where we are changing the narrative. You can access CTN Media via YouTube. We need you to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. You're supporting Black media. Tonight's show is meant to engage you. Your comments and feedback are welcome. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram to keep up with all the shows that we host here at CTN Media. This evening, our show is powered by the Black Business Initiative. That's right, powered by the Black Business Initiative. All right. So tonight's show, I'm excited. We are going to talk about single again, surviving the holidays, still single. Some have been single for not that long because maybe you had a recent breakup. Others have been single for a lot longer. And in fact, waiting to exhale. It's been that long. That's right. And so I thought it would be nice to offer a platform for all the single people. And even though my panel consists of women this evening, I am encouraging any men out there, and those of you that have some men that you want to reach out to, maybe your brother, your dude that you're kind of interested in but not sure, your sons, your best friends, whomever you know that are single men, invite them to join us. Forward them the link, ask them to engage in the conversation, because it's always nice to have a man's perspective. And we know that there are some men out there who desire to be in a relationship. And their thing is, where are all the good women? Where are the women at? The same position statement that a lot of us have, a lot of sisters. Where are the good men? And so this evening we want to talk about what it's like to be in a situation with everything that we are dealing with in this pandemic. On top of that, to go into the holidays still single. Now, we're not going to stop there, though, because our objective this evening is to switch up that narrative. That's right. We're changing the trajectory. We're changing everything about what it usually feels like as a single woman to go into the holidays without a partner, without a man, without your boo, your darling, your handsome partner, however you want to look at that, without having that partner at your side or accessible going into the holiday season, planning together, hanging out together, shopping together, decorating together, cooking together, preparing for Kwanzaa together, however you celebrate these holidays. And I think that even if it's not Christmas, certainly New Year's Eve is definitely when not having a partner can be a factor. So I wanted to engage some of my friends, some women out there with various ages on the spectrum to come and contribute to this conversation, and how they are contending with and what it's like for them being single again for the holidays. So please, again, I encourage you to drop your comments in the chat. Dial in at 303-801-8052 with your questions or comments. We can get your voice on the air with your questions. So even though we can't see your face, we can certainly get your voice on the air with whatever questions you might have for my panelists, whatever questions you might have for me. And again, this is Topazz, Executive Director, therapist, psychotherapist, consultant, trainer, activist, and so much more in the community. My agency is Rediscovery Through Wellness, where we provide therapy, coaching, and consulting, family therapy, couples recovery therapy. Coming out of a bad relationship, you're looking for relationship recovery, Rediscovery Through Wellness can support you in that. All right, let's get going. Are y'all ready out there? My viewers, are you ready? Are you ready to hear from our panelists? Let's get this conversation started. All right, I'm going to go ahead and invite my guests into the space. Come on in, come on in. All right. So we're going to begin with some introductions. Hi, ladies. How y'all doing? Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Thank you for joining us this evening. So we're going to start with some introductions so that you can, I'd like for you to share whatever you want the viewing audience to know about who you are. If you've got something coming up that you want to promote, if you've got a business that you want to promote, anything that you want people to know about who you are and what you got going on in this season, you are welcome to promote right now. So why don't we start right here at my left? I'm going to start with Miss Lori Mack. of Love Elegance. Good evening, Lori. What would you like the audience to know about you and what you do?
Hello?
Lori, can you hear me?
Absolutely. So my name
Okay.
is Lori Mack. I am the owner. Yes, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you.
we
Are
can
we
hear you
having
now.
some difficulties?
We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. I am owner and operator of Love's Elegance, which is a special event company. So I'm one of those people who makes these type of holiday season and parties and all that stuff come alive. I am have been in the community. I'm a native of Denver, and I've been in the community for a long time. Also activist and do quite a few other things, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Excited to have you. Tia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tia, and I am the owner and operator of Patty Bakes, a small bakery, a home-based bakery. I'm always baking, so we're open for the holidays. If you need anything, you can find me on Instagram at Patty Bakes 2019. Again, that's Patty Bakes 2019 on Instagram, as well as pattybakes2019 at gmail.com. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. I've been in Denver for a few years now. I've been getting heavy into the activism scene for the last 3 years. I've helped to bring the March for Black Women to Denver, and we hope to continue doing that. And I do a lot of other things as everyone else does too. So thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Tia. Miss Tony.
Invited me, Topazz. Glad to be here. I am a native of Colorado, which is kind of rare to find, born and raised here. And I work professionally as a professional trainer and coach and facilitator and manager in the Denver Public Schools. And I am a big part of the community. I'm the vice president of the Aurora branch for the NAACP. I chair a nonprofit foundation called the Struggle of Love Foundation that provides resources and different various types of resources to the surrounding communities in the Denver area and to the youth in that particular area. And just on several boards within the community. And so looking forward to this moment and looking forward to discussing with these beautiful women here on this podcast.
Awesome. I did not know you were part of Struggle of Love. That's good to know.
Chair the board.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
involved with them with some of their safe zone activities this summer. Nice. Miss Ashlyn Eliku.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashlyn. I'm honestly here just to have a conversation with you guys about everyone's experience with being single during the holidays, how they manage that, and just wanting to be here to just get some wisdom and also share my experiences as a 23-year-old. So I'm also a Colorado native as well. I've been raised here for a very long time, not originally from here, but yeah, definitely a Colorado native. And yeah, I'm just young, learning and trying to gain as much wisdom from all of you guys. And yeah,
Nice, nice.
I'm excited to be here.
And I was very intentional in trying to cover the spectrum because I know that we've got millennials watching, we've got some more seasoned women watching, we've got people in the middle somewhere. So we want to be able to offer something that's going to be relevant to everyone in going through this. We have some women on here who have been married, no longer married, never haven't been in a relationship ever through the holidays. So let's just get started and let you share some of your stories. So my first question is, how does it feel going into the 2020 holidays without a partner for you? What does that feel like, and what has it felt like in previous years compared to what it feels like now?
Well, I would say for me, this is probably the first year that I am really okay with being single, going into any type of holiday or anything. Especially with COVID. Since it's been going on a while, I've been loving hanging out with myself, finding out new things to do, picking up old projects, trying to start new projects. And so I'm actually having a lot of fun, and I'm actually hanging out with just friends that I've been with throughout the pandemic. And so we've just been keeping busy. I don't feel like a third wheel, even though they're married. We've just been hanging out, having lots of fun, learning new things, cooking and eating. So I actually feel really good this year compared to almost every other year.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you on that and why it is that you feel good this year. But I do have a question. How is it that you manage to hang out with couples and not feel like the third wheel? How do you work that out?
Well, I guess because I'm okay with being single. I know that it will happen eventually, and I just love being around them because I just love the thought of love. And so so I'm just there, and I'm included in everything, and sometimes I get included before one of the other partners does, so it's kind of funny. And so I just feel super included, and feel like a part of the family, so I don't feel like a third wheel at all.
Okay. All right. Someone else want to answer that question? And Ashlyn, do you have a little more light? Because you're coming up kind of dark on your end.
I know, it's terrible light.
You got the light right there. Stay right there, right there, right there.
I just don't have anything to set my computer on. It's okay. We'll make it work.
Okay. So who would like to next?
I would say I would agree with Tia. This has been actually, I'm okay with this season. I do know that holidays are always high stimuli anyway, and it's a lot of sights and sounds, different things go on. But this has been really kind of a nice change, just to be able to be still and to really do a lot of self-reflection and, change up kind of what I am doing. So I'm actually kind of in agreement with Tia.
Okay. Tony?
I myself, I just, when you asked that question, how does it feel being single this year? It created a curiosity question in me. Should we not be okay with being single? And what that looks like. There seems to be a stigma around, if you're single, then there's something wrong with that. And so, in answering that question, I was thinking about that question, just saying, I don't necessarily feel a certain way, other than I am just moving along with the continuation of just my life, not necessarily giving thought to being single. It's just, this is the life and the path that I'm on. And it's another holiday. Holidays mean something different for me, not so much because I'm single, but because I've had losses in my family. And so that for me is the difference this year in the holidays.
So does that make it more difficult for you?
Yes, the losses make it more difficult for me. Yes.
Okay. Ashlyn?
I definitely resonate with Miss Tony. I've been single for forever now. And that's okay. Like, this is my journey. And although I have a bunch of friends who are currently in relationships, serious relationships right now, I'm really not letting that get me down at this point, because I know that I have a lot of growth and healing that I have to do. And that's what's keeping me like going, not worrying about being single through the holidays, I just know that I'm building a relationship with myself, and that has to come first before, even entertaining anything serious. So that's just my mindset.
Now, have there been holiday seasons that have been more challenging than this one for you when you've been single? And that's an open question to anyone. And specifically for the reason of being single. I know for me, there have been holidays that have been extremely hard because I want the nostalgia of being in a relationship during the holidays. I enjoyed it, and coming out of a marriage, for as long as I was married, my husband and I, our family, we made tradition through the holidays and especially in my family, Christmas has always been a very special time of year. Christmas was probably the biggest holiday for my family traditionally. And so it always meant a lot to have family. But then when I had my own family, it meant even more. But I can even remember before that. I can remember being in college, being in high school, when I would watch all of the Christmas movies, and everybody was always a couple, and it seemed like the majority of the stories, even now when I watch a lot of the Hallmark movies, it's all about somebody coming together and falling in love and being in love by Christmas. They, in the movie, they met 2 weeks ago, but by Christmas they are in love. And they're going out and buying the Christmas tree together and chopping down the Christmas tree and buying gifts and exchanging gifts. And there's just something about that, having a partner to do that with. It just made it more fun. And I know that now that my son is not this little kid anymore who looked at Christmas very differently with all the excitement that children have about Christmas. And he got older, because at one point it was all about the children. And so there still are young children in my family. So the focus is on them. So those are some of the dynamics that made the holidays for me personally kind of challenging, because those are some of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to get under the mistletoe and kiss somebody under the mistletoe and just do some of those romantic things together, that drink eggnog on Christmas Eve and put our feet up together at the fireplace. Because I am just a hopeless romantic. I admit it. I love those kind of things. So for me, those were the dynamics. Those were the images that I had for the holidays.
I can feel you, because I definitely used to be like that. Like, used to really be like down on myself and really sad, because I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't get to do this and I don't get to do that. But I'm like, it's all right. I love Tia, and I can do everything with somebody else that I can do by myself. And so, like, if I want to go to the lights, I'm gonna go see the lights. But I'll put hints out there to people, to my friends, and to maybe, a guy friend or something. Let's go to the lights. It doesn't have to necessarily be anything romantic for me. I just want to hang out and do things, that we can do, right now safely or whatnot, But I definitely used to be that one that was like, oh, I just want to be in love. I just want to be in love. I just want to be in love. And I want to do everything but I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. I know that when it is supposed to happen, it's going to happen, which is why I'm having so much fun with other people around me that love to celebrate holidays. I don't really celebrate holidays like that. This is like the first year that I have some god kids around, so I'm getting a tree for them. And so loving on other people also brings me joy. So that's just what I've been focusing on, loving other people.
Nice. Anyone else? Any other hopeless romantics out there?
Yeah. I can definitely understand and relate to what you're saying. I am a romantic at heart as well. And several years ago, I was feeling all of that and the same thing that you was feeling and wanting to be with somebody. But at a certain point, I realized a lot of that was from just the pressures of society. Everything you see in society says it's not okay to be single. And so if you're feeling okay within yourself, then I'm fine. Society says, no, you're not. There must be something wrong if during this time or doing that, you're not booed up, so to speak. you know. And so I was feeling a lot of that pressure from friends, from family, and everything you saw on TV that says, you got to have a maid, you got to have this. You're supposed to, girls are supposed to grow up and want to get married. And even though I have that romantic spirit, at the same time, I was feeling that. And it was a combination of things. And I think anybody definitely wants to have a special someone, whether it's just hanging out or whether it's something romantic, you still want to be able to have that. But I don't think that needs to define you one way or the other, or what your journey is in life. And so I think it's harder for single women in that regard to kind of just be accepted for just being single, and the fact that you enjoy being single. And, for the holidays or any special occasion, it gets challenging because of how people perceive the notion of you being single, and that you actually like being single. That just seems like an oddity to people. Like there's got to be something wrong with you if you enjoy being single. It's like, well, kind of not. Some benefits to it.
Anything you want to add to that, Lori?
So I looked at the holidays a little bit differently, as far as the holidays is full of high stimuli anyway. So when you think about it, imprints memories. There's sights, there's lots of lights, there's lots of sounds, there's lots of smells. So from the time we're younger until now, there is this memories that have been printed in, and they're very high. How do we create new memories to replace those memories or to complement those memories? Because this time season, it's all about this high euphoric stimuli, and that's what makes it so much more difficult than just, let's say, an average or ordinary day. Because of you're seeing so much and you're immersed in so much. For me, it was Nat King Cole songs, for example. It automatically triggers a level of stimuli for people. And so really is like, how do we replace or create new memories and being okay and singleness? There's a power and a gift of singleness. And so really taking the time to reflect and saying, what is it that I want in this memory? And what am I creating? So when, there is a mate that comes, you've really given some thought about some very intentional thought. And then you're able to have fun without having that interdependence on external things to let you have a good time.
Nice. Now, what about New Year's? How does New Year's affect your singleness? Is it any different for you, or is it all the same?
I'll be in the bed before 12
Probably
o'clock.
the same.
Yeah, definitely the same.
New Year's, I'm more about family actually than I am about the whole going out and hanging out and things like that. I more family and friends and just hanging out and house party or whatever than I am. That New Year's doesn't affect me like that.
Okay. So I don't know if any of our viewers want to chime in. Anybody out there have different experiences that you want to share, questions that you want to ask? Again, you can call in to 303-801-8052. You are watching Black Media. This is CTN Media, sponsored and powered by the Black Initiative, the Black Business Initiative. So we are connected right now to YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook. Like, subscribe and share. Like, subscribe, and share. CTN Media, where we are changing the narrative. So speaking of changing the narrative, it's a nice segue into looking at what we can do differently. And for the viewers out there that may be depressed, may be feeling lonely and sad because they're not comfortable being single during the holidays, they're not comfortable being alone. And this has been a particularly difficult year as it relates to loneliness because of COVID, because of the forced quarantine status, and because of the pandemic. We have limited ability to travel at our leisure as it relates to things that you might otherwise be doing during the holidays. Some people might be going off to some island somewhere to be on the beach. Someone else might be going up to the mountains to go skiing, but just a variety of things. Some people usually travel to go see their families, for those that are not natives of Colorado and can't travel. So now they find themselves isolated, some for the first time ever, being isolated, being separated from their families, that they can't get to the families. They had big plans this year for the holiday, and that just kind of perpetuates the loneliness, perpetuates the frustration, and in some instances, again, even depression. And then takes one to the mindset that, yeah, at least if I had a man, at least if I had a woman, if I had a partner, I could be spending the holidays with them. But now I'm stuck here, away from my family, away from tradition, away from what I'm used to, and forced to figure it out. So what are some suggestions that you all might have for people who are in that predicament, that is their story?
I think it's important to look at a situation and really see it as a benefit and an opportunity. Because before you step into a relationship, it's really important to get to know who you are as a person. And sometimes we don't stop long enough to do some self-analysis and to really think about who we are and what we want in life, and then what we bring to a relationship, and who are we going to be in a relationship, and what we don't want more so than what we want. Because what you want tends to change quite often, but what you don't want pretty much stays the same. When you realize you don't want something, then that's pretty much it. You don't want it. And so I think it's an opportunity, and more people we've been so busy in life, going to work, doing this, dealing with kids or whatever, dealing with family, that we haven't stopped long enough to really just look in the mirror and self-reflect and take in who we are. Because if you can't be alone with yourself, you can't expect another mate to really get along with you either. If you don't like who you are, or finding out when you're alone, if you think you're boring, then somebody your mate gonna think you're boring too. So those are the types of things. I think the pandemic, take it as an opportunity to really reflect on what it is who you are, you like to do. Because a lot of times, if you're listening to all the noise and what society says about relationships, then you get sucked into it, and you're just so focused on wanting a relationship and what others have said a relationship is, so you haven't really defined who you are and who you're going to be in a relationship, and what you're willing to deal with, what's a deal breaker, and all of those types of things. Because really and truly, this pandemic has brought out more issues of domestic violence and abuse, because people have really, when you and your spouse are the only ones in a confined space, you really begin to see how much you do or don't like each other, because you really haven't taken the time to really just look at your relationship and understand how to be friends first and be likable first, before you did all of the things that society says a relationship is supposed to be. So you really have to define your own relationship. And to me, that's just how I see it.
Thank you for that. And absolutely. And I like what you said earlier, in that singleness should not define us. It shouldn't bring this stigma of something being wrong with us because we're single. And that comes with, you know, a certain age, particularly after a certain age, or, you know, even as a young woman, if people are seeing you single all the time, there's a stigma that even comes with that. So it's not just limited to being a certain age. It's just being a woman that doesn't have a partner. People start to kind of give you the side eye, like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing wrong? What's the problem? What's the issue? And so that mindset, that idea, that concept ends up being internalized. People start to internalize that and start to question themselves in what's wrong with me? Why am I still single? Why am I not with someone? And I think that gets personified during the holidays because there is so much family and partner relational things that are happening during the holidays. Claudette says, are you with family, friends because you don't have a significant other? Anybody want to answer that? Or do you choose to be with family and friends because you don't have a significant other? Or what would be different if you had a significant other, if anything?
So I think for me, being with family and friends is, really, really looking at singleness as a gift. There is some power in singleness as well. And so being with family and friends, taking a look at going from the individual to looking at service, changing what it is that we do, looking at ourselves and saying, okay, what level of service can I do to help someone who's elderly or help family, looking at those intentional relationships, looking at detoxing our own personal lives and, whether taking a cooking class or doing something. I think what's happened is we're so defined by things outside of ourselves that there's this, how do we define the internal? Who are we outside of all of these other things, outside of the family and friends, outside of the mate? Do we have enough time to really sit back and say what defines us as a human being, as a woman, without this external stimuli of having to have these titles or having to have the relationships? And so I really, really like Tony's point on really trying to be the best that we can be, but just being the best. Do we have to cook dinner, a Christmas dinner, just because you have a mate? Why are we not celebrating making a wonderful dinner for ourselves? Why do you have to wait until you're in a relationship to be able to love on ourselves in the same way? And so, yes, I think it's just really looking at that perception and that perspective and changing how we view our own gifts.
Absolutely.
I love what you said, because if we waited to be in a relationship to do those things, some of us may never get those things done. So, I mean, I celebrate me as much as possible. I'm learning, not I'm learning, but I know that, like you all have mentioned, like being single, there's so much power in being single. Some things that I'm able to do right now, if I had a partner, I don't know if they'd be ready to sign up for some of those things, right? Like they may not be ready to sign up for some of those things, which is quite all right. So what I've been trying to be really intentional, I guess, about building relationships and friendships with folks during this time, especially like of the opposite sex, right? Like just really just building friendships and just speaking about life, about business, and just that, and how we can help each other build and add on to each other's businesses, or, just different things like that. So definitely, I'm not waiting on nobody to cook me a big old dinner. Never, because I love food.
And especially since you are such a wonderful cook yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So Tia, you bring up a good point. Are we friends with ourselves?
That is the thing. It's like, are we friends? How do we celebrate? And not from an egotistical standpoint or a selfish standpoint, but do we love on ourselves? I know there's people who feel like they can't cook a meal unless they have someone to cook for. And I'm like, well, don't you want to eat a nice, dish? Or do you not want to do bubble baths? And like why must we wait to do those things? Are we friends with ourselves, and what does that look like?
I think
love that.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ashlyn.
I was just going to say, I think that's a great point because, our relationship to ourselves is the most important. And during the holidays, I definitely know that I'm definitely going to be building my own gingerbread houses this year. And if that has to be by myself, I'm definitely more than happy to do that, spending time with myself, getting to know what I like. And I think you should focus on yourself during this time, during the holidays, just to see, sorry guys, my dog, but just to see exactly what you like and enjoy and do things that you probably wouldn't do if you were with another person, with your significant other at this time. So definitely a great point.
Nice. I hope you all out there who are viewing are picking up on this. Lots of great suggestions, lots of great points about really coming to a point of loving ourselves, appreciating ourselves, friending ourselves, being at peace with just being with self, taking advantage of the power as a single individual, the power and the autonomy that you have as a single person, because clearly all of that shifts to a certain extent. But even in a relationship with someone, we should never totally and completely give up our autonomy or release all of the autonomy, because we are still individuals. However, there is compromise and negotiation that happens when we are in relationship if we are committed to making it work. There are some changes that come with that. And so if you, again, are out there viewing and you have some comments or questions that you want to present to the panel, you see things differently, you have a different experience, maybe you feel like your experience is unique and we have not tapped on that, please drop your comments, your questions in the chat, and maybe we can be enlightened by something that you have to offer. So share comments and questions, like, share, and subscribe to our channel, CTN Network, powered by the Black Business Initiative. All right, so then my next question, or the next point that I want to make, again, I want to go back to the reality that we know that everyone is not as healthy, mentally or emotionally healthy, or has not evolved to the space where you ladies seem to be, particularly for people who are coming out of a relationship and they're used to having that partner, and now the adjustment to suddenly being alone is overwhelming. And in some instances, even terrifying. So in those situations, what kind of suggestions? We know that we're limited in terms of what activities we can access, whereas, somebody mentioned going to see the zoo lights, and actually, I think that you could still do that. That's still happening. Finding something that you can still do, that you can engage in, where there are other people so that you don't feel so alone. Colorado has attracted a lot of people from other cities and places. So we do have lots of people who have come here who have not really established relationships yet. And so it's already lonely because they're just trying to figure out, how do I connect with people? How do I begin to establish relationships? So what are some suggestions you might have for those folks? So I can speak that
to that a little bit. I had come out of a long-term relationship, and I want to say the year after coming out of a very long relationship, it was a very difficult time, but I used it as an opportunity. And this is again pre-COVID, to go and take myself. I think I went to a comedy place, and I literally went by myself. And and to really take the courage to whether go to a restaurant and sit by yourself and to sit in that moment, in that time, in that space, and just kind of really feel the emotions and the feelings, because you see other people around, you see, couples, and, you're going to a place. But the first few times was difficult, but after a while, you start asking yourself, okay, what is it that I'm feeling in this moment? And I'm at a comedy place by myself, or I'm at a movie, or I'm at a restaurant. But over time, enjoying it over time, that frustration or that pain or that, and there's a lot of fear, I think, around that too, goes away. And you actually start enjoying, and you see certain things, and it's really kind of pushing through. Pain pushes as vision pulls. Being able to push through that lonely moment and say, why is it that I can't sit at a restaurant, have a wonderful dinner by myself? What am I feeling? And to really process those emotions and process those feelings and get through that whole space of what that is. And so, so that is a huge, to explore that, to go deeper into that, to go deeper into those emotions, and that practice is really profound and very therapeutic, I'd say.
But again, because of how limited things are right now, for the most part, you can't even dine in a restaurant right now. So
poetry, writing, doing a lot of journaling, doing a lot of writing, doing a lot of poetry, really looking at online exercises. There's so much online as far as yoga, as far as aerobics, really sitting out a plan for yourself, saying, okay, in this time of singleness, what are some things that I'm going to do to help heal my mental, physical, and spiritual? What are some things I'm going to do mentally? Read a new book or learn a foreign language. What am I going to do physically? What am I going to do with my diet? Learning how to cook maybe some vegan dishes, or, use it as a time, create a plan for yourself, with yourself, on mental, physical, and spiritual harmony. And what are some things that you can do in each of those areas in the single time? And it doesn't have to, being out, but even at home, what can you do in your home? Going through your closet, saying, what are some things that I really need to start getting rid of? Like using this downtime as an opportunity. I see it as being in a cocoon, as a butterfly. This is a cocoon experience. And once you're in this cocoon, there's so much work that needs to happen. But once you come out of the cocoon as this butterfly, your wings are going to stretch. It's going to be a little uncomfortable, but taking that time as you're in the cocoon experience to really do a lot of focus and planning, strategic planning. We plan everything else in our lives as women, especially as women of color. We're taking care of everybody. We've got plans for everybody in our household. But what about these plans, the strategic plans for our own mental, physical, and spiritual well-being?
Thank you, Lori. So as we're coming to a close this evening, an hour goes by really fast. I'm going to give each one of you an opportunity to offer something in closing.
I would say also, I see that Claudette said, how did you get to this point of autonomy and self-satisfaction, friendship to self? Having women like you, in your lives, right? Being able to know that you can reach out and ask the community for support. There's like Lori was saying, there's a lot of things that are online now, like right, even specific communities here in Denver that are here online that you can reach out to, that are meetings, so that you can at least see folks, right? But I would also say continue to learn what you love about yourself, you know, so that when you do find a partner, you already know what you already know what you love about yourself. Stand rooted and strong in what you believe about yourself, and don't change for anybody. You know, I know a lot of, when I was younger, it would be like a lot of people would be like, you look intimidating, Tia. That's why men don't talk to you. I still to this day don't know what that means. I still to this day do not know what that means. I don't understand if a partner, if you want a weak partner, then maybe that's what that means. Because I'm not in no shape, you know, no way, shape, or form weak. So I just don't get it, right? And again, I know, Topaz, you were saying that, you know, something, if you're single, something is wrong with you. People ask me that all the time. Like, why are you single? Hell, I don't know. Because I am. I mean, I don't know. How do you answer that question? Like, how do you answer that question? Because I'm single. That's why. I don't know. I'm happy with being single. Actually, you know, I know that one day I will have a partner and we will have our little fairy tale fantasy life. And I'm waiting until that day, and I will not settle.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Ashlyn, any closing remarks?
I would just say self-love and self-care will definitely help you find that friendship with yourself, like healing, wanting to heal, taking the necessary steps to heal. I really think that's when things start to become easy. Just learning about yourself and your needs and your wants. So I would just say take this time to just celebrate all that you are. Do things that make you feel good, that you find, you know, um, just freeing for you. You know, just definitely self-care, self-love. For me, that's what I've been doing, trying to heal and, you know, begin to really love myself and just love being with myself. So I would definitely say to everyone, you know, continue to think positively, and focus on your relationship to yourself. I think that's the most important thing to do.
Thank you, Ashlyn.
And I would add, you know, ditto to what all the ladies have said. It's so true. It really is starting with self. And it's going to be scary, and it's okay to be afraid. Just simply be courageous in that. You do have to do the work on you first. And, you know, surround yourself with a good circle of family and friends, because that'll be your support, you know. Strong ladies, spiritual ladies, within your family, outside of your family, you know, male or female, anybody that you can reach out to kind of help you through that process, and do what's within your comfort level. If you're comfortable with social media, then, you know, you can start there and do some things to reach out to other people. But you really have to start with self. You have to do the work on you. And that's going to be the scary part, because you have to acknowledge some things about yourself that maybe you've heard other people say. And as Mother would say, if you've heard it more than once, heard it twice, it just may be true. So it's just self-acknowledgement and doing the work. And that's the scary part. And recognizing that if there is a fear, why there is a fear, you know, as Lori was saying, if there is a fear, why is that fear there? And why am I afraid to be alone if that's the situation? You just have to really ask yourself those tough kind of questions. And if you find it within yourself that you really want to be with somebody, then make sure that you're with that person because you want to be, and not because of the things that are surrounding the outside noise.
That's important.
And the
Absolutely.
pressures of society that's forcing you to do that. But yeah, just reach out, you know, expand your circle of family and friends. And who you are within your circle of family and friends is who you are going to be in a relationship. So you have to do the work on yourself to really be comfortable in your own skin, and to be comfortable with somebody that you would potentially bring into your life, because that person should also be part of your circle of family and friends.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Um, to our viewing audience, there have been some really key nuggets that have been provided this evening, some valuable riches, some treasures that you can take with you, and you combine those things with some things that you're already pretty solid on, and you should be good to go. We want to defy the narrative that being single during the holidays has to be a bad thing, so that as you are getting closer to the holidays, that pressure can hopefully be released. The name of this show is R&R, Release and Rediscover. And so part of my objective this evening was for you to be able to release the negative energy associated with being single, period, not just during the holidays, but the pressures, as Tony so eloquently put. Don't make a choice to settle or to be in a relationship or a circumstance or situation because of the external pressures, whether it's from your family, from your friends, whomever is trying to put that guilt trip on you or make you feel some type of way about being single. Make a decision to be in a relationship based on what you desire and your readiness. Your readiness is critical. There was a comment that was put up on the screen earlier from one of our viewers who was in agreement with the fact that her friendships with other women have helped to be a source of strength for her in kind of coming to a place of being at peace with being single. I want to thank my guests this evening for being with me. I sure appreciate all of you ladies. Have lots of love and respect for you. Again, there was Tia, Ashlyn, Tony, and Lori, and you can connect with these ladies if you're interested in hearing more about anything that they're doing or want to have deeper conversation with them. Make sure that you message me and I will put you in touch with these ladies. So thank you, ladies, for being with us this evening. I'm Topazz, and this is R&R, Release and Rediscover. So this evening was my 8th episode, so that means that I will be on hiatus for a little while. I'll be back in the next season. Some of the things that we're going to talk about, we're going to address the issue of singleness, and we're going to go into it from a different perspective, and what are some things to really work on to really heal ourselves from the inside out. You know, there's a lot of trending messages about leveling up with regard to our partners. And there's nothing wrong with leveling up, but we want to make sure that all the things that we're doing in order to be attractive and ready for this relationship include in healing from the inside out, not just losing weight and doing your makeup differently and fixing those physical attributes, but what about the heart matters? And so I mentioned earlier that Rediscovery Through Wellness, we do offer relationship recovery. And a lot of times we're taking baggage from one relationship into another. And then that relationship does not stand a chance because that toxicity that you've been carrying for a long time has never been dealt with. So make sure that you reach out to Rediscovery Through Wellness at 303-801-8052 to get a free consult. I offer 30-minute free consults. This evening, we talked about changing the narrative of being single in the holidays, but the bigger issue is changing the negative narrative about being single at all, so that we don't have to feel guilty about not being in a relationship. We don't have to feel ashamed, less than, insecure, inadequate, because you're not in a relationship. There was lots of nuggets given about how to work yourself through and remain in good mindset, in a good spiritual place, a good mental and emotional place through this pandemic. If you can't get with your family, take advantage of the time to really grow within yourself. Do some self-discovery, do some self-healing, come up with a business plan, create a plan of where you want to be, set those goals. There was a vision board party Day, sponsored by BBI this past weekend. If you don't have your vision outlined for yourself for where you want to be in 2021, spend some time creating that vision for yourself. Create that vision board, outline that plan, take advantage of this time to do the things that you have not been able to do up to this point because you've been so busy. It's okay to still take some time off. We've heard that it's good. It's okay to cook that beautiful meal for yourself, set that presentation up, put your decorations up if you're into that. Celebrate Kwanzaa like you've never celebrated it before. However you celebrate the holidays and even New Year's, even if you are alone by yourself or with family and friends versus with a partner, make the most of it. Tomorrow's not promised. Stop putting off all of the things that you really want to do, waiting until you have that special person in your life. Who knows when that's going to happen? It could be next week. It could be tomorrow. It may be years from now. But either way, you want to make the most of today, Take advantage of the fact that you are beautiful, you are amazing and brilliant, and you bring so much to the table. And it's not just for a partner. It's also about being able to enjoy yourself, find some kind of organization to get involved with, volunteer your time, support community, get out there, work with the children, the elderly. There's many options out there, whether it's through donations because you may not be able to be present there. Create gifts, make gifts if you're arts and crafts, go out and purchase some gifts for a family, adopt a child. There are so many different options to help get through this holiday season feeling good and thriving through this holiday season. It's been a pleasure to have been with you over these past 8 weeks. I look forward to our next season together. Lots of really good things in store as we come up upon this new year. I hope that whatever you decide to do and however you do it, that you are blessed and you are healthy. And I have to take a moment just to say, because I know that there are lots of people who have experienced losses. One of my guests this evening had a loss in her family just this weekend. So I want to offer condolences, prayers, and just love and peace to anyone out there that is really grieving and suffering in this holiday season because of the loss. We actually had 2 guests this evening that have had losses this past year. One of them mentioned how difficult it's going to be for her because of the losses. So I just want to acknowledge all of you out there who have had losses. My heart goes out to you. Be encouraged, be uplifted. And again, you can reach out to Rediscovery Through Wellness if you need support to deal with your grief and loss. Peace and blessings, everybody. Take care. This is Topazz.